They say love can heal. But what happens when love becomes a weapon? It started in a cozy apartment nestled in the heart of a bustling city, a place where laughter once echoed, where wine glasses clinked, and whispered dreams of forever filled the air. But behind the closed door of apartment 4B, something dark was growing. A web of secrets, a surge of jealousy, and a betrayal so deep, it fractured a mind already on edge. This is the story of Ava Monroe, Daniel Pierce, and Juliet Lane. 3 souls bound by love, torn apart by lies, and one of them wouldn't make it out alive. Was it a crime of passion, or was it premeditated madness? As the police peeled back the layers, what they uncovered was more than just a love affair. It was a descent into obsession, paranoia, and murder. This is Love Turned to Murder, the apartment affair. Ava Monroe had always believed in fairy tales. Raised in a modest household in upstate New York, she spent her childhood lost in books and dreams of grand romance. Her father left when she was 9, and her mother, an anxious, devoutly religious woman, spent years warning Ava about the dangers of love. But Ava believed love could save her, fix her, protect her from the world. When she met Daniel Pierce at a gallery opening on a rainy September night, it felt like something out of a novel. He was charming, handsome, and effortlessly intellectual. He made her feel seen in a way no one ever had. Daniel came from wealth, old money, and charm polished in Ivy League classrooms. But he was drawn to Ava's sincerity, her vulnerability. They dated intensely, passionately. 6 months later, they moved into a small but elegant apartment on the 3rd floor of a classic brownstone in the historic Brookline district. Ava painted by the window. Daniel brought her coffee and whispered poetry into her hair. It was beautiful, but beneath the surface, the fairy tale had cracks. Daniel worked long hours as a creative director at a tech startup. He traveled often, stayed late, and grew emotionally distant. Ava tried harder. She decorated their home with love notes and candles. She surprised him at work. She planned date nights. But Daniel's eyes began to wander. Enter Juliet Lane. Juliet was hired as a freelance consultant to help rebrand Daniel's firm. She was beautiful, model-esque and unapologetically confident. She commanded rooms. She flirted effortlessly. She made Daniel laugh in ways Ava hadn't seen in months. Ava felt it instantly. A threat, a chill in her bones. The signs grew. Daniel mentioned Juliet's name too often. He stayed out longer. He stopped looking Ava in the eye. She found wine glasses in the sink that she hadn't used. Unfamiliar perfume on his coat. And then came the late-night phone calls. At first, Ava doubted herself. She blamed herself. Maybe she was too clingy, too needy. She tried to be what she thought he wanted. But the distance grew. And then she found the messages. It was a Tuesday night. Daniel had fallen asleep watching a movie. Ava, trembling, unlocked his phone. Her hands shook as she scrolled through his messages with Juliet. Juliet, * last night was electric. I'm still tingling. Daniel, you wreck me. I can't stop thinking about your mouth. Ava dropped the phone. She felt sick, betrayed, worthless. When she confronted Daniel, he didn't apologize. He minimized it, dismissed her tears, blamed her, gaslit her into believing she was the problem. From that moment on, Ava began to unravel. She isolated herself, quit her part-time job, stopped painting. She started writing in a journal, the entries becoming more paranoid, more obsessive. Her handwriting changed. She tracked Juliet's movements online, created burner accounts to follow her private profiles. Ava even began showing up near Juliet's workplace, hidden behind sunglasses and scarves. She began obsessing over her appearance, starved herself, dyed her hair, tried to look like Juliet. Daniel barely noticed. And then the nightmares began, violent dreams of betrayal, drowning, blood. Ava visited a therapist once. It didn't help. The therapist suggested antidepressants. Ava never returned. The spiral worsened. One night, Ava followed Juliet and Daniel to a rooftop bar. She watched them from across the street, hidden in the shadow of a street lamp. They kissed, held hands. Ava sobbed into her coat. A week later, Daniel ended it. Told her he was in love with Juliet. Told her to move out. She didn't cry. She just nodded. The following nights were a blur. Ava wrote letters to Daniel she never sent. She painted Juliet's face over and over, stabbing the canvas with her brush. She stopped eating, barely slept. And then, she made a plan. She waited until Friday. She knew Daniel's pattern. He always forgot to lock the window on warm nights. She wore black, covered her face, removed her shoes, took a knife from her kitchen drawer, the one she used to peel apples when she first moved in. She climbed the fire escape, trembling. The city below her was silent. She slipped inside. The apartment was dark, warm, smelling of lavender and sin. She crept through the hallway like a shadow. Voices, laughter, then silence. She pushed open the bedroom door. Juliet screamed. Daniel jumped. Ava lunged. What happened next was a blur of screams, blood, and broken promises. Juliet fell to the ground, clutching her stomach, gasping. Daniel tried to hold her, crying, yelling, panicking. Ava stood there, frozen, the knife still warm in her hand. When the police arrived, Ava didn't resist. She was rocking on the floor, whispering. She took everything. She took everything. The media exploded. The story had everything: beauty, betrayal, and blood. The trial was a circus. Daniel testified. Ava's defense claimed insanity. Her journal was submitted as evidence. So were the letters. So were the recordings of her therapist session. She was convicted of second-degree murder. Sentenced to 25 years in a psychiatric facility. Today, Ava lives in a white-walled room in the Brook Hill Mental Institution. She paints. She writes. She takes her meds. She rarely speaks. Juliet is buried under a cherry tree in Roseview Cemetery. Her mother visits every week. Leaves her lavender roses. Daniel moved away. He remarried. He never speaks of what happened. Apartment 4B is still empty. Neighbors swear they hear crying at night. Whispers in the vents. Shadows that move when no one's home. Because some wounds don't heal. Some hearts don't forget. And some stories never really end. Love can be the most beautiful thing we ever experience. But love, twisted by lies and left untreated in a mind unraveling, can become a tragedy. Ava Monroe didn't wake up a killer. She was made, molded by years of emotional neglect, manipulation, and mental illness. Juliet Lane was caught in the crossfire of a heart too wounded to heal. Her life, full of potential, ended in the most senseless way. Daniel Pierce walked away, but his silence still echoes. Let this story serve as a reminder. Mental illness is not weakness. Emotional abuse is not invisible. An obsession is not love. If you or someone you know is struggling, please seek help. Subscribe to True Crime Hub for more human stories behind horrifying headlines. Comment below. Who failed Ava? Was justice served? And how do we stop love from becoming lethal? Until next time, stay safe. Stay aware. And remember, even the brightest hearts can hold the darkest shadows.